Hi everyone. Right, the next glass that I will be engraving for you is this lovely Bohemia. They call it a royal crystal. They don't say what percentage crystal, and they don't say crystallite. So crystallite is the sort of modern lead-free crystal, but this one they call a royal crystal. Anyway, it's got a lovely ring to it, nice modern gin glass. Yeah, a lovely ring to it. However, it is pretty thin, especially on the top, really, really thin. Let's see if we can kind of see that. Also, I detected a stress line round about there. So I've made a mark, and you can watch my video on detecting stress lines. That is quite low down, and that is fine because this is very thin on top, so I don't really want to engrave high up anyway. Lower down, you're going to have a little bit more glass to play with, although I am not going to go deep on this one. I am just going to do surface engraving. What I've done, I have drawn with a nice fine marker what vaguely resembles an octopus. Okay, and his tentacles or arms, whatever you want to call them, arms, legs, go kind of all the way around. And it all remains below that mark that I've made there, which is the stress line that I detected. I think that this will have quite an interesting overall effect once I am finished. All the engraving down at the bottom, and I've designed it so that where the eyes are at the front, there's not too much going on directly behind the eyes at the back, because I want the eyes to really, really show up without any kind of distortion or interruption by engraving on the other side. And right, well, it's as simple as that. As per usual, rather good fun, and I'm really looking forward to engraving this. Let's get on with it.
First of all, most important is a mask and something on your eyes. Okie dokie. I have got a diamond in the drill, quite a large one. I'm very lightly going around my funny little drawing. And yeah, definitely not going very deep. This whole engraving is going to be surface engraving. As I mentioned, the glass is very thin. And even though we have a little bit more thickness down the bottom to play with, I am still engraving on the surface only. This particular diamond is a sintered diamond, so it is diamond all the way through, but you can just use an ordinary diamond burr, which is much cheaper. It just doesn't last as long. Also, the diamond burr that I'm using is of a sort of it's a medium to light grit. It's not very coarse. This glass is quite a nice quality, and therefore I don't need to use a really rough and ready one working dry, and I don't want any chippy bits. I want it nice and neat and smooth. As I say, if you're using a really tough old soda glass, then generally you want to use a good new diamond that's maybe a little bit more coarse, because the engraving is a little bit tougher. But this is lovely glass. Lots and lots of twirly-whirly limbs to engrave. I believe they have 6 legs and 2 arms, although to me they all look pretty much the same. And yeah, I even read that there are fossil remains of octopus with 10 limbs. So, hey-ho. Anyway, I wanted it to look quite busy, the bottom of this glass. Okay, let's take the paper away. Now you can see the diamond showing up much better. Of course, I had the paper there so that you could see the black marker. Now I'm just adding a few more extra markings where the limbs come up a little bit more. And we're ready to start filling in the head area. You can see there is a lot of dust coming off, and that is why it is very important to have your mask. I usually have the dust extractor on as well, but I didn't in this case. It is blowing away quite nicely. The windows are open, so there's a bit of a breeze in the opposite direction to me. And of course I have my mask and glasses as well, and a headband magnifier. Right, what I am after here is a nice smooth white area. So I'm doing little lines, I'm doing little circles, whatever I feel like it. And it doesn't matter because I am not pressing hard. I am not going deep. And that is all I want to achieve, is a white, solid white area. When you get to the edges, obviously working slightly linear because that helps to keep within the lines. Turn the glass to be more comfortable. If only we could engrave that fast. Right, zooming in, you can see that it is relatively smooth. Don't worry, we'll be working on that smoothness. Part of my sort of going over it with my fingers and my thumb all the time. Okay, I'm moving away the dust, but I'm also feeling it. It's a subconscious thing that I do. I feel the work. I often feel the burrs as well, especially when I'm first putting them in the drill. I can tell straight away whether a diamond is old and tired, and also when it's fresh, I can tell when it is a sort of a smoother one, or a very coarse one, or a medium one. You get to know these things the more you engrave. You can see there's a little bit of texture, ever so slight, but you know I like to use a little bit of white tack, and really, there's nothing there. So, if I had gone deep, you would have seen an indentation. This is a green stone. It's a lovely stone to smooth an area out. Just that little bit. Give it a slight half tone. I wouldn't even call it a half tone. It just does something nice to a diamond. A bit of engraving. Careful around the edges. You could change down to a smaller green stone to do the edges neater if you're worried. But it's not that difficult to get it within the lines. Well, in fact, on the outline, you don't want the outline to be white, or certainly not in this case. I want it to be the same tone as the rest. You can see a slight difference already. I'm going to be putting the effect of texture and lumpy bumps on this octopus. I want to be able to shade this area underneath those lumpy bumps. And so this is preparation for a darker surface. You can see that I sort of hesitated with my fingers on that surface because it is getting a bit hot. So if you stay in one area for too long, of course it's going to warm up. So be very careful. Keep moving around. Without using water, you're not helping to cool the surface all the time. So yeah, just be aware that the surface will be getting pretty warm. The bird does as well, actually. Don't forget that. Right, that looks like a nice tone to work with. I noticed at the bottom that I thought, no, I need to make his head a little bit more chubbier, sort of drop it down a little bit further at the back. So I'm doing this simply with the green stone. So there you can see, in fact, you can go straight in with just the green stone. Here I have a softer rubber, and I'm starting to add a little bit of shading, going right to the edge. So we're still preparing the background. Now, I'm not minding a little bit of movement from the swirly action of the way I'm shading this area, just because of the nature of the patterns. It's going to be quite effective. I wasn't particularly happy about this edge. I don't want to see an outline, but for the time being, you can sort of see it. And if it bothers me, I'll fix it later. As you can see, I have used a marker. This is not a permanent marker. And I've just done a very, very simple few lines to indicate where I want to put these markings. So there is a sort of a rough kind of layout of these markings. Not a regular pattern, but just an idea of some sort of theme. It's just not just a mishmash of dots. So I'm putting larger dots using the same sort of size diamond burr. This time it's a coarse one, and as you can see, it's just chewing straight into that. I don't want to go too deep, of course, but it's gone in just slightly. And it is producing a lovely, bright white mark. Just irregular blobs, almost like random bricks, if you like. And what I'm doing in between are a selection of very small ones. So what I decided to do at this point is actually make some areas darker with a harder rubber. This is a hard rubber disc. And because of the shape of it and the hardness of it, where I have just added the diamond work, it doesn't really go into the diamond so much, and it certainly can't immediately polish it out. So it gives it a gentle kind of blending effect in the places that I go over the blobs. So I'm back to that burr, and I'm putting teeny tiny little blobs using the same burr. So I mean, obviously you can create the bigger ones and just with a slight touch create a teeny tiny one in between. Because it is that they're slightly raised, these blobby effects, you want to be able to see them on the edge. So I've just done a slight hint of them on the edge of the head. And that just immediately, same as with animal hair, a few little hairs sort of poking out the edge gives that impression that it is quite hairy. In this case, this little chap is quite textured. Already you can see that even though it is surface engraving, it is giving the effect of quite a 3D picture. Looking from the other side, gosh, he really already does look quite alive, even though all I've done is the top of his head. That is the end of part 1, and I hope you enjoyed that and enjoy engraving your octopus head. And I'll be coming up with part 2 shortly. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.